Okay, so I'm ready to roll. Okay, so I want to go over like runes first. So essentially, I
Okay.
want to pick your brain about runes.
Yeah.
So most popular, so pretty much you use like all of them, right? So you use airy, you use grass, press the attack, phase rush, and electrocute. I only use airy, press the attack, and I've been using grasp a little bit more. I don't bother with electrocute. I don't bother with phase rush.
Okay.
Um, so give me the rundown.
Okay. So I think Grasp is really underrated just because it's a win lane rune and games are over so often by 25 minutes that Grasp is just good. And I've recently been trying Airy, and the reason why I think I'm having success with it is because it's basically just going full early game. And if I think in solo queue, at the elo that I am in, right, you need to win early game so that you can snowball, get dragons, push lanes, blah blah blah. But when you go for scaling, like this is not gonna be an iPod bashing stream, but if you go for scaling and phase rush and what's called gathering storm and then resolve secondary, and you just say, okay, I'll have 100 CS at 11, or I don't know, 190 CS at 20, but I'm never actually gonna try to kill the enemy or do anything, then I think every game that you play is just gonna be coin flip, and you're not really gonna find success with it.
I feel that way too. I'm definitely all about the like win lane, win game mantra, and you're right. Like the games don't go long anymore, and they definitely are over by like 20 minutes more times than not. Um, I never thought as Airy as a late game rune. I never thought as Electrocute as a late game rune. Same with Press the Attack. I use them all for the early game. Is
Electrocute,
that wrong?
Electrocute is actually a late game rune. Electrocute deals a shit ton of damage. You know,
Really? I always
I,
felt like it
I
was
can
strong early.
I can try. I actually don't. I don't think it's the strongest early game rune. I think even Airy could be stronger early game. I've never done the math, but judging by feel, that's what I'd say right now.
Yeah, I
And
I feel like Airy is just a better Electrocute in my opinion. But you run Electrocute, so you don't feel that way, right?
yeah, like let's say for example, the last game I played, right?
Versus
Okay.
Nocturne.
Yeah, exactly. So we basically have four squishy champions and Leona. And Leona, I'm basically never going to bother with. If Callista and Leona go on me, right, I'm not going to waste anything on the Leona. I'm just going to use everything to one shot the Callista. So in this game, if all of them are squishy, um, the most logical decision is just to try and kill them. So
Forehead.
yeah, I mean, another thing that whenever I pick a rune, I try to pick the most optimal um, rune for the game. So in this game, for example, we have a Lucian mid, so we have an AD mid, which is pretty rare. This means that it's pretty likely that I can go double penetration and deal a lot of burst. And then with Sorcerer's Oblivion Orb, if I have Electrocute, I can one-shot anyone. And the beautiful thing about this loadout is that in this game I was 7-7 and smurfing my mind out and killing everyone. But let's say I'm like 0-3. With this loadout, I can still just one-shot the Callista. And if you look at their team comp after the Callista is dead, like what do they do? Sure, they have damage, but it's all gonna be poke. And in the 5v5 team fight, what are they gonna do?
So all that makes sense. So like that totally makes sense. But wouldn't Airy be better for laning phase? Like win lane, win game. Wouldn't Airy be better for lane? And Airy still does. It's not like Airy doesn't do damage late game. I think Airy still does damage. Like say 20 minutes, two items with electrocute. I feel like Airy, does not comparable, but it does its job still. Like you're still gonna be able to one shot. But Air is just better for laning phase with versus a Nocturne where I feel like maybe you can pull off a kill, maybe you can lane him a little bit. So can you explain that to me just a hair? Like I totally get electrocute like
Um,
20, 30 minutes, electrocute a couple items, you're gonna one pop any of them for sure. But I feel like you still could do that with Aerie and you can get kills early game as well.
so the thing is, um, the electrocute does deal, I think, pretty significantly more in like a one-shot combo. Like in a prolonged fight, maybe Ares gonna deal more. But a lot of the ways I win games, like if we watch the replay or something, I'm pretty sure in the mid game there are scenarios like right the again I'm not trying to flex, but the enemy AD was upset. So he was like top 10 AD carry US at one point. So he's not an idiot for dying to me, right? But the thing is, with Electrocute, he just doesn't expect just how ridiculous the damage is. Like with Airy, the damage is gonna come a little bit more over time. But the way I play the game is I just try to play like, I don't know, like a LeBlanc. I just auto Q ignite and he dies, and he doesn't have enough time to react, which he might have with Airy. Like often I do I mean, you've done it plenty times as well. You know, push out the mid lane, place a shroom down, people walk into the shroom, and you kill them. Well,
The
often
old
I just
string
win.
cheese.
Yeah, yeah. So I often do that, and I mean, it wins me a lot of games. I think one of the reasons why won't be able to get above 1k LP is because the AD carries are just gonna realize it. They're never gonna leave. They're not never gonna leave into side lane or push out the mid lane without their support with the sweeper. So I'm gonna I'm gonna win a lot less games. But in this game, like we had team fights, they had engages on me, and I just one shot the Callista, and afterwards they couldn't do anything.
And with this setup, you don't give you're just farming a lane or you're just playing
No,
like how's
I
laning
mean
going?
you just play the lane normally. Electrocute isn't bad against Nocturne. It's the same against Shen, right? Like in lane, Nocturne is gonna W your Q, just like Shen would W, but the Electrocute still goes through it. Like
Okay.
let's say you auto Q, and Nocturne spell shields the Q. He still gets the Electrocute proc, so it does deal pretty good damage.
So essentially, Electrocute is better mid game, and based on matchup, it's just as good early game as Aerie. Is what you're saying?
Sort of. That's why in my guide, I think I always said that Airy is sort of a noob trap. I think Airy can be very nice because you get the sorcery tree as well, where you basically have 3 rows with only good minor keystones. But let's say if I'm against a mage where it's a lot more difficult to close the gap, um, then I would probably prefer Airy. Or let's say we have an AP mid laner, like let's say we have fucking Teemo, Karthus, Oriana. I don't, and I'm playing against, I don't know, Ryze. I don't think I'll be able to close the gap. I don't think I'll be able to do that cheese. I don't think I'll be able to do short trades, so then I have to play more for grooming stuff and proccing Airy on different targets.
Okay. One second. I'm just writing all this down. So pretty much,
You
so
use So I'll say it in a short form. So Electrocute is really broken when you're the only AP damage dealer. Like Teemo is already broken if you're the only AP damage dealer, right? It's always the wet dream. But with Electrocute, I feel like you always just have so ridiculous burst. And whenever Also, Electrocute is really good against champions like, for example, Nocturne. I mean, you could go PTA. Like, one noob trap that I think exists. Sorry, again, I'm rambling off. It's not concise. But let's say if I said PTA is good against Nocturne because you can kill him, it's nice in the 1v1, you can proc it pretty much always whenever he all-ins you, it deals a lot of damage. But then someone would pick PTA based on what I said against Nocturne, but then they have the fucking Callista bot lane. And then they don't have the one-shot potential to kill the Callista because the Callista is not going to give you 3 auto attacks on her.
Yeah, that makes sense. How pretty much nobody on their team is except Nocturne, Leona, you can get pressy attack off on. So that makes sense.
So I had a game where I always like to take PTA against Mordekaiser, but then they had whole squishy bot side and bursty champions, so I want to burst them back. And then I was really, really sad because I couldn't one-shot any of them. I was like, oh my god, this game is so much harder than it had to be. I can't proc PTA on anyone but Mordekaiser, and Mordekaiser isn't matching me. He's like, I don't know, roaming. It was really annoying.
All right, fair enough. Okay, that makes sense. So pretty much, Electrocute is better than Airy if you're verse like a melee matchup and you're not taking pressy attack. If you're verse a lane that you can auto Q auto easily, and Airy would be better if you're verse like mages, like something like Kennen Rise, right?
Yeah. So you just want short range burst, pretty much.
And now, what matchups do you usually take Electrocute top lane in?
So, I mean, Shen is a funny anecdote because I did like 10 1v1s in a row in a custom game against Shending Help, where we just tried, Shending Help, Expetu.
Yeah,
Shen names on the US server.
The twin Shen gods.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my god, I can't beat Shen because they're so fucking good at Shen, and I'm like, I can't beat them at all. And then we just played 10 1v1s. I figured out every item start. I tried out every rune, and then we decided, yeah, Electrocute is just the best.
Not even if say they have a Shen top and like say we'll go with a like a Sejuani jungle and like a Leona support, you wouldn't go press the attack for Shen?
Then I think if they have that much CC, I'd actually maybe even consider going Phase Rush.
I'm just gonna rule out Phase Rush. It's not for me. I don't even want to play start.
Okay.
Phase Rush.
I think PTA is good against tanks, but Shen is the sort of champ where you can't really proc PTA if the Shen has a brain.
Yeah, because of the auto block.
Yeah. And the way he weaves out and weaves in with his passive shield, he really doesn't allow you to... Like, I remember I took PTA with the same thought process against probably Grandmaster Shen, and I could never get PTA off, and it was super useless. So even then, I think Airy and Electrocute would be fine, but would both be fine. I probably would still take Electrocute though, depending on their mid and AD. I mean, as long as they don't play like double mage mid bot, I think Electrocute would still just be better.
Okay, give me some other matchup you take Electrocute into.
I think it's easier if you like.
Okay, I got you.
Show me.
I got you. I'll read off the most popular
team comp, and I'll.
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna do I'm just gonna do like top laners. The team comp. Just assume that right now there's not really too many tanks. Just assume they only have a tank jungler and that's it, right?
Okay.
Because it's a lot of enchanters bot lane, a lot of assassin mages mid. So let's assume every one of these lanes are just with one. We'll go with a. We'll just say. Like
so we're assuming 1v1 lane.
Yeah. So all these are just with an Olaf jungle, right? No other tanks. So Would you take Electrocute
Okay.
versus Camille? Or would you take Grasp?
Hmm.
If it's a hard decision,
Yeah.
we'll just skip it and we'll talk about it later.
So Camille is one of the harder ones.
Yeah, yeah. Tell me about
I've
it.
tried a lot of stuff, and in my guide in the matchups, I actually just say like every rune is fine if every rune is fine, and I think in Camille you can probably go every single rune besides PTA,
That makes sense.
and you'd be fine.
Okay,
Oh god,
fair
I'm
enough.
dropping frames on my stream. Ugh. Okay.
Well,
It's
then
fine.
what about Jax? Grasp or Electrocute?
My internet hot garbage. Jax. Oof. Grasp or electrocute. Grasp or electrocute.
Or
I
even
don't
press the.
like.
I wouldn't say press the attack because it was a dodge, right?
Yeah. So I don't like grasp into Jax that much.
Why not? I feel like it's fucking broken for Shax. I feel like that matchup, he just jumps me like either level 1 or level 2. Like he just gets a quick trade and gets out.
Yeah.
I feel like second one would be great. But I can also see if you're offensive, Electro would be great because it's short trades.
I get the idea with grasp against. I had a phase where I would go. Sometimes I'd only go either grasp with domination secondary, or I would go electrocute with resolve secondary. So Jax
Oh wow,
is
I
the
never
sort
thought
of,
about oh man, that's it. Yeah, Electrocute opens up. You can get those because the resolve tree. You only take it for bone plating a second wind, right? So it's like
Yeah.
that makes sense. You could go at secondary with Electrocute. That's pretty genius. Because like
So-
Force Tree feels like shit in some matchups on the secondary for Electrocute.
yeah. So like if you go electrocute sorcery, for example, against the Jax, you feel like you're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah,
Like
you just die.
not all in it too much. So like Jax is a matchup where usually I'd go electrocute with resolve so that I can get bone plating. But I've also seen iPod play Phase Rush into it, and I kind of like it. But Jax is another matchup where I'd actually say any rune is like Grasp, Electrocute, Airy, Phase Rush are all fine, although Airy feels very weak. Like I'm trying to think for a case of Airy, but I think Airy just sometimes I can't explain it. Like I don't know if you go into custom mode like iPod and you check all the stats or whatever, but I'm just playing the matchup in my head, and Airy against Jax feels really bad.
I can see that. I feel like not going Resolve versus Camille and Jax, you're just asking to die.
Yeah, but against Jax more than against Camille. I think against Camille it also depends a lot on how you play the lane.
I agree. You said bone plating versus Jax. You don't like second wind?
I mean, isn't the idea of bone plating that Jax jumps on you, he proxy bone plating, and then he E's and W's and your bone plating soaks it in? Second wind is something I only go against. I do think second wind is underrated, but the
This guy's a
only
genius.
places where I had considered it so far were Gangplank and poke champs. But
That makes
usually
sense.
with poke champs like Rise, let's say, I usually wouldn't go Resolve, and I just go, I don't know, Airy with Taste of Blood Domination.
Okay. That makes sense on the bone plating and the runes.
But going
They're
Grass
pretty-
is fine against Jax. Really,
Okay.
it's fine.
So grass versus electric resolve. It's pretty much preference, right? Like, do I feel scared? Do I feel like I can still win lane? Because all those lanes could go either way. You know, they're hard, but you could win them technically. So it kind of just comes down to preference.
Yeah, but it's sort of preference, but I usually decide by checking what the enemy team has. Like, right?
Yeah. So if they have like a tanky team comp, there's no point going electrocute. Like if they have a Jax top, Sejuani jungle, and Ali bottom, there's no point going electrocute because in lane it's not going to do much, and after lane it's not going to do shit, right?
Yeah, but
So
if they
why
have
not
like
go grasp?
Kalista is one of those champions. If I say a Kalista, if I see a Kalista, the chance of me going electrocute like triples.
Well,
Like
I don't
Kalista,
want to toot your horn or anything, but I'm not worried about ADCs. Like ADCs right now, I feel like they never carry. I feel like it doesn't matter if I go 4 dildos as my build. I feel like they're still not going to carry. So I don't think I'm going to adopt that mindset. Maybe it's an NA Omega Law moment, but that's just how I feel. I feel like ADCs aren't really,
I don't know. Maybe we've just got crazy. I actually feel like ADCs are like really scary. Like the more I think about it, I've had so many games that got taken over by AD carries or by bot lane.
I feel like ADC's success are based on like the lane. I feel like that's accredited to support,
Yeah, but I mean, I take them as one package. Like in the example,
oh god, all the support
like,
means hate you.
like the
He just said
Kalista
he takes them as
Leona,
one
I just take
package.
them as one package, and if I see Kalista Leona, I'm taking Electrocute because I need to kill the Kalista.
That's fair. I see where you're going. I was just trolling with you for a second.
I'm pretty bad with sarcasm, not gonna lie.
Noob gamer.
Jeez.
Okay, so Akali. So Akali is a tough one right now.
Yeah.
If I just had to guess, it would be Electrocute or Grass preference, right?
Pretty much on the head. Yeah, like I used to only run Akali, and I would stomp them. Only run Electrocute into Akali, and I would stomp her every game. And I'd be like, "Why the hell are you having problems against Akali?" But recently, I think I have had the time where I faced like Akali 6 times in 10 games, and I've noticed that for some reason it has gotten a lot more difficult. Maybe the Akali players have gotten better. And I've started going Grasp more. I don't know if my OP.GG reflects that, but I've started going Grasp against Akali more. Wait, did I go Airy there? I probably went Airy just to try it out.
I mean, I can see how Airy would be a decent choice for Akali, so I get that. Yeah, I feel like Akali is like meta now, so I feel like she's not like I feel like she used to be a freebie, but now all of a sudden she's like meta and like a decently hard lane.
Yeah.
I could see based on playstyle how you can go Electrocute or Grass, but you went Sorcery second. Even in this, like you went Sorcery second, which I feel like you would need Resolve versus her, no? I feel like she pokes well early game. She all-ins well level 6. I feel like Resolve must be a must, or am I going crazy? Because you can't really build magic resist items.
No, you can. You can.
We'll get to that in a moment. I don't want to overload just yet.
Okay, so I think I can explain Resolve pretty easily against Akali. So first of all, bone plating doesn't really make sense because she can just proc it with her Q, and then she waits. She has to go out to get her passive and then kill you, and by that time the bone plating is already gone. And if you go second wind, I mean the power of Akali and the team matchup is her all in. It's not her poke. The problem with Akali is that she can all in you level 6. So you need to somehow survive that. And with second wind, you're not gonna survive it. I mean,
so essentially, like bone plating and second wind are both bad versus Akali, so you go sorcerer by default.
Yeah. So my entire build just revolves around being able to match the power spike of her level 6 Gunblade. And it used to be really easy with Electrocute, Liandry, and I'd always make sure to get a Ruby Crystal and Moon Magic Mantle, so some defensive items, so that I could survive her all in and then kill her with Ignite. That was always my game plan against Akali. It has suddenly gotten a lot more difficult, and I don't know why. I think she got buffed or something, but I'm starting to struggle, and I've always said that Akali was like major difficulty matchup, like at least 7 out of 10. It was never difficult for me, but now I'm like starting to feel the 7 or 8 out of 10 difficulty.
Okay, fair enough. Another one, like I'm just thinking about like the electrocute matchups. So like I said, I like doing one at a time because my brain is you know, a little on the smaller side.
No,
I'm not
no,
a big
don't
brain
worry
like
about it.
you.
Don't worry about it.
Another electrocute matchup to me would be Irelia, right? So yay, nay, grasp,
Okay.
electrocute. How do you feel about her?
So Aurelia, I think, is another matchup where, oh my god, I say any rune is fine. I think, but there actually like any rune is fine. You can go Airy, you can go PTA, you can go Grasp, Electrocute. Yeah, you can legit go everything into Aurelia.
If I do go electrocute, I would go bone plating. I would take it, right?
You don't have to. I've played it before without taking bomb plating.
Well, if I ever catch that stun without bone plating, I'm pretty fucked.
So I like to play the Aurelia matchup a bit coin flippy. I think it's a
Okay, I like it.
it's super snowbally matchup. Like if she ever kills you, the XP lead and the freezes and the pain she's gonna do to you, like right, she's just gonna dominate you all game long. But if you manage to kill her, then she can never touch the wave because you just kill her at the wave, and she can never heal up because you can run ignite as a top laner. So I like to go like full damage. You can even go like this Brazilian airy build, right? Just you need to try and kill her. Like at level 6 you can go Seeker's Arm God, sure, to not die to a level 6 Olin, just like in the Kali Olin, right? But this is like a full balls matchup. The thing the thing I'm most scared about in Aurelias is I think they don't do the most stupid play. I think the most stupid play that is the best against Teemo is you go Q level 1, and then you just Q onto the Teemo, you auto attack him down until he's like 200 HP or something, then you base teleport back and the Teemo is so fucked.
Yeah, I feel like if I like the level 1 trade, she fucks me on pretty easily. And level 2,
Yeah.
I guess at level 2 it's a little bit better, but level 1 she definitely fucks you.
So if I see an Irelia take E, so that's another important thing about the matchup. If I see Irelia take E level 1, I already think I'm doing very well in lane.
Yeah, I was like that's a
So
freebie.
that's why I don't leash in the matchup.
That makes sense.
I don't leash, I try to take control of the wave.
So essentially versus Aurelia, there's two ways of going about it. You can risk it for the biscuit with Electrode and Sorcery and try and kill her, or you could play safe with Grasp, or you could play safe with Electrode Resolve, right? Like, is that what we're going with here?
Sounds good to me. Like, you could also... I've seen iPod do it, like the Ninja tab I saw, what's it called? Ninja tab by Seeker's Arm God.
Yeah.
And it works fine, but then let's say they have, I don't know, Ziggs Carter's bot lane, and then you're doomed.
Yeah.
So you can't always do it.
Yeah, I think the defensive boots I only reserve for when they have like either all AD or all AP. Otherwise, I feel like it's not really worth it. I feel like you can probably just survive with Arm Guard. You know, I think that's more than enough. So I'm in your boat with not really going defensive boots too often. But I can see why he does it. It makes sense. Wukong, to me, it would probably be Grasp. But I can see Electrocute as well. Is this an any rune matchup, or how do you feel about Wukong?
It's sort of this, but with Wukong, I just got the feeling that I used to think maybe this matchup is actually difficult, but nowadays I feel like it's super free. Like, if you go Electrocute and Seeker's Arm God, I can't see how you lose the lane. Or mid game, or late game. Ever.
Do you go Resolve with Electrocute or Sorcery?
I think both are fine, but as long as you Q him during his E, I think it really does matter. I think, but Wukong is also a matchup where I would recommend maxing Q.
Interesting. Would you ever go Grass versus him, or is that like kind of the scared way of playing it?
You can go it, but I feel like it's too scared, yeah.
I feel like he definitely doesn't do that much damage early.
Like, Grasp is to win lane, but if you're winning lane anyways, then I feel like you're just wasting for mid and late game potential.
I respect that.
Don't ask me about Tryndamere. I hate the champion and I can't win against him.
I feel the same way.
I feel like I'm supposed to counter him, but he just
yeah, it doesn't really work out.
Yeah.
Urgot, how do you feel? So Urgot, like, I've always thought pressy attacking Urgot is pretty good because like he can't really one-shot you, so Zerkers are like kind of good. But of course, if they don't have the rest of the team to make use of it, I would probably think Electrocute with like sorcery. I feel like he doesn't really pose much of a threat unless you play like a Dingleberry. How do you feel about Urgot matchup?
Urgot is another any rune is fine sort of build. Like, I've run PTA against them, but mostly on Smurfs. And
yeah, I feel like PTA is just not that good in high-low. It's like you're not guaranteed to get those autos off.
Like, I like it, but you're a bit too squishy and you're really getting into dangerous one-shot territory. Like, you basically any EQ ult and you just die. I like taking PTA because it allows you to go cut down. So if you go cut down, you want to have as little HP as possible, right? But if you have little HP as possible and it's Urgot, then you're a bit fucked. So I think Grasp is fine. I think it's a little bit scared, but there is this Urgot main. His name is Kaman. And I don't know if he's an EU West or NA one trick. So I would usually take Electrocute into Urgot, but since no one besides Bwipo or Kamon would lock in Urgot, I would just go. Okay, Kamon is EU West, someone chat is telling me. I would just go Grasp. Like, if someone in Challenger picks Urgot, I'm too scared of dying, and I'm going Grasp.
That makes sense. Do you feel like Urgot does a lot of damage?
He really does. Like, even if you Q him, the trade is you usually have pretty long trades with him. I think the way it goes is level 1 and maybe level 2, he's definitely stronger than you. And then if you do Q max, actually, yeah. So one hidden ninja tip against Urgot, Q max is really strong against them.
Because of they had machine gun ability and it just waited forever.
Actually, obviously it works because of that as well. But the reason is that they transferred the shield onto his E and it's no longer on his W. So if he wants to get a shield, he has to E. That means that in lane, you can just use Q to poke him down, and he can't use a shield. So he is actually surprisingly squishy, and you can kill him. Just poke him down with Q.
Okay, that's interesting. I never thought of it like that.
The problem is if you go Grasp and max Q, then you're gonna have like no mana, so you have to go like secondary sorcery, but then you have the problem of not having Taste of Blood and Ravenous Hunter. So it's a bit
I feel like the game's unplayable without Ravenous Hunter as Teemo.
Yeah. Maybe you need to go then double Dorans and like a Fairy Charm or something. It's not the worst.
Okay. I think that's all the lanes I was thinking about Electrocute. I want to talk about I want to go over the other runes still. So essentially Electrocute is it almost feels like your go-to if you want to carry, if you want to do a shit ton of damage, right?
Yeah.
It's just better than Airy, in your opinion, which I never thought of it that way, but I can see that.
I mean, I've been playing Airy now a bit because, right, I've heard good stuff about it, and Airy is better than I give it credit for, but I still think, like, I don't know, Electrocute is like 20% better, maybe. I just really like the burst. Like, people don't expect burst, and especially in the late game, it can be so ridiculous. Like, I've one-shot people from full HP where they're like, oh, okay, I'm fine, and then they just die. I can remember. I feel like I'm constantly flexing. I don't know. You
Weird
need to
flex. Weird
like
champ.
you need to bring up examples. Oh yeah, I was playing against LL Stylish or something. But then I had a video where I played against Yankos on Kha'Zix, and I one-shot him with Electrocute, and he was so surprised, and it kind of won us the game. So I think in the late game, it can be so vital and so important to have it. You win so many more trades than you usually would.
I can definitely see that. Okay. And so, but Electrocute and Area are pretty comparable. Well, not really. So Electrocute Resolve is broken for a lot of lanes where you can't do Area with Resolve. That's kind of like something I never thought about.
Area with Resolve sounds brilliant, not gonna lie.
Yeah, yeah,
Actually, really does.
yeah.
That sounds like something I probably do.
So essentially, like, so I'm thinking Electrocute with Resolve is great. Like, you can win lane, but you still don't get one shot. Where like Airy with Domination,
Yeah.
it's like you can't take damage. It's like literally like a stick and move kind of thing. You can't take trades. It's kind of like the vibe, right?
You just don't have mana if you go it, so when I run Electrocute Resolve, which I haven't in a while actually, I would recommend you to go Ludens.
Okay, I do want to talk about that the items in a moment.
Yeah.
Okay, and now Grasp is just reserved. So you favor Electrocute more, like you don't go Grasp often, which I like. You know, that makes sense to me. So Grasp is reserved just if you can't survive.
You have 4 games in a row where I play Grasp.
Well, besides that, it's like barely any. You know.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of matchups. Like in the high elo, I'm just scared shitless to lose my lane against Akali and Camille, so I take Grasp.
Yeah.
Even though in low elo, I would go Electrocute to beat them up. I think in high elo, it's pretty underrated to just not die.
That makes sense. I get that.
It's a bit more boring, but you get to the mid game safely, and then you just try it. Even if you have less damage and less scaling, you still scale decently.
What matchups do you take Grasp in? What Camille? Like Camille, if you don't want to go Electrocute, and Gangplank and Akali if you feel like it.
Yeah, I mean Gangplank always. I think anything besides Grasp. Anyone that played something else than Grasp against Gangplank and it worked has not played against a good Gangplank.
That's fair. I used to run Airy and just like Qmax, but I definitely think like you just need the second wind.
Yeah.
You can't prevent the Q. Versus Camille, I would favor second wind because essentially with Camille I would think that I'm just gonna take second wind for her little jump pokey thing. But I can see if you would take Bone Plate for the all in. What do you prefer?
Sorry, can you ask again? I was zoning out reading chat.
So versus Camille, I feel like I would take second wind because for her poke, but I feel like you can easily make an argument for bone plating. What do you go versus Camille?
I think I go bone plating, but only because I never really think about it too hard. I've never really thought about going second win against Camille.
Well, think about it. You're the master here. I'm the student.
By intuition, like the problem with bone plating is that right, she can proc it with her W, but at the same time, it really discourages her to go for all-ins. So I think bone plating is still better.
Okay, thank you. And Akali, you prefer sorcery, but if you were going resolve, you would go which one?
I feel like I've never been poked out of an Akali lane before. So I think
feel like I have been. I feel like I get to that point where like I need to push the wave and I have like 3/4 health and she can kill me. And I'm scared.
Still, I think bone plating. It's just even though she takes it in the early levels, right? Just with the Q. I think level 6 onwards, it's really important for the all-in.
Fair enough. I respect that. If I were to take Grass versus Aatrox, second wind.
I feel like Grasp against Aatrox is really... It's like against Wukong. It's way too scared. You know, like, I saw Alfari play Teemo once. Alfari is the top laner of OG in the LEC. And he, like, first timed the matchup in Challenger. And he just went, like, double Doran's Airy Q-Max and just poked the Aatrox out of lane, and it didn't look like the Aatrox could do anything. I think Grasp is too scared. I think you either go Phase Rush if the... But Timon, you have to make a difference between Grandmaster and NA. You know, like... There's not that much of a difference between Diamond 1 and 50 LP Grandmaster.
You talking shit about an A? I leave for 1 second.
Oh, sorry. You're back.
You shit talker.
No! Shit, you hurt me. No, what? Like,
EU teeth, EU teeth, EU teeth. Sorry, it's the only meme I know.
Sometimes I hear like, oh, he is Grandmaster in an A and he has like 50 LP. And I'm just like, what?
Listen,
like,
well, we don't want to talk. We don't talk about that. Our challenger players have a lot to offer.
Ah.
Am I online?
Again, I feel like I'm always shitting on iPod, but honestly, he'll probably get challenger as well with his wacky builds.
He's a very interesting player. He's never been meta. He's never done what quote unquote works, but he's always good. It's like we'll see. I mean, I don't think it's good to speculate about Ivan's rank because that dude is gifted. You know, like if he ends say Diamond 1, Diamond 2, well then that speaks for itself. But I feel like he's the player. It's like you always wait on before judging. It's like I'm never, you know, as soon as I call him like hard stuck, he'll hit challenger and prove us all wrong. So I never like speculating about him. He's a different player, you know.
I mean, I can still say that in that matchup, going Blade of the Ruined King is dog shit, and you shouldn't go it. But yeah, I mean, I still think he's gonna get high elo, even with wacky builds. By the way, I'm not allowed to swear, right? You're family friendly. I am also family friendly, but sometimes I swear.
I have a potty mouth that I need to work on.
Okay.
Okay, where is I? Grasp.
Okay.
Camille, GP, Akali. I put Irelia just in case. I know you don't favor it, but
you can do it. You can do it. Okay. You just make sure that you win the lane. It's fine.
What about Renekton? I feel like Renekton would be a great Grasp lane.
Yeah, it's fine. I feel like you could go PTA and Electrocute, but only against lower rated Renekton.
I'm talking about for my main account, you know, so I'm versing the best. I'm versing the cream de cray, the cream brulee, the crop of the crop. I'm not talking about Smurfs.
Like with Renekton, the problem is that the good Renektons, they just do the very simple EQE combo, and they always thin the wave and poke you with a Q. So if you don't have any sustain in your kit, then yeah, you're gonna suffer a bit because eventually he's gonna get an HP lead on you, and then once he hits level 6, he can all in you and you die. That's happened to me before. That's why I sometimes run Electrocute with Resolve if they have a Kalista bot lane. But in my match history, I've ran Phase Rush actually, just because Renekton is sort of a champion that wants to set up ganks, so I just want to run away from ganks.
What's it called?
But Grass
you
was
would go
fine.
second wind or bone plating with Renekton?
I used to always go bone plating, but when I think about it, with his Q poke and the way he would play lane, I think second wind makes more sense.
Fair enough. Malphite. This seems like to me Electrocute with Resolve. Yay or nay? Or Airy? Electrocute with Resolve, right?
Yeah, probably. Grasp is a bit underwhelming. Like, sure, you win lane, but I feel like you go too defensive at that point. Like,
You just need second win versus Malphite, right? Like, I think like if you don't have second win, you're fucked.
yeah. Like, sometimes I play against. No, I think I shouldn't consider bad Malphites. Like, I think, yeah, second win, you just need to resolve in any tree, and you need to buy one null magic mantle. Then you're fine. I think Grasp is too lane orientated, but besides that, you could go anything. Probably
Now,
though, probably you would go electrocute though, so that you can get taste of blood.
yeah, that makes sense. So pretty much Grasp and Electrocute are going to be the most popular. Ares still okay. Versus Press the Attack, you pretty much recommend only when they have a shit ton of tanks. Like, Press the Attack for lane, if they don't have tanks as well on the team, it's not worth it. It's only good for, like, what, would you say 3 tanks? 2 tanks?
No,
Give me just your opinion with Press the Attack, because I feel like you barely run it.
There's very few matchups where I like it. Like when I go press the attack, I'm going full split push. I'm just going full side lane. So
Well, I feel like that's a shit strategy, side laning.
no, it's not. It can work. It can work because the champions that I would go PTA against, they really don't want. They really would want to group, you know? Like a Maokai or Mordekaiser, they don't want to match you in the side lane. They're really sick of your shit. They want to perma group while they still have high base damages. So if they have to keep matching in the side lane and you actually have kill pressure with PTA, then most of the time your team wins because their team doesn't have their front line with them. So with tanks like Maokai, sometimes Poppy, but Poppy actually deals a lot of damage. Like Maokai and Mordekaiser are the matchups where I go pretty much. I don't think there's that many more matchups. I think it's a fine rune though. I've had a Smurf in like Plat where I ran it in every matchup and I still won them, but yeah, I think in this elo it's only optimal if you go.
I think talking about main account is best because you gotta.
Yeah,
You know, I'm thinking
let's talk
like
only main account. Yeah.
yeah, I'm thinking like, and even for other two mains. So say for example, like say I'm coaching a Plat Teemo main, right? They're dealing with the same problems we deal with, you know. So like for example, when we're smurfing, we can go we can go any rune versus a Jax when we're smurfing because it doesn't matter that Jax can't combo correctly, right? It's like we can go any rune versus an Irelia, right? Because that Irelia is not gonna QS level 1. But when talking about the main account, it's like these people are same skill level, so it's like now the runes change. Now you need to play a certain way versus Irelia and Jax, and I feel like even though other team mains, like say I coach a Plat team main, like they're looking at the game the same way we're looking at it because that Irelia can fuck them level 1, that Jax can fuck them.
Yeah.
So I like this way of playing because I agree with you. Like when I'm playing on a Smurf, I can run press the attack every lane because I can land the autos and I abuse them. Right, it makes sense because it's like just whether it's positioning or spacing or whatever. But yeah, for sure. Like I don't think I'll ever get a press the attack proc off on a high elo Jax or a high elo Irelia, or like you said, a high elo Shen. So this is helping a lot for sure, and it's gonna help me when I talk to other team mains about it. So press the attack.
I just want to share.
Go ahead.
I just want to share that Exploiter said 2 noob Teemos trying to make sense of top lane. And I really appreciated that comment.
Fair enough. Respect.
Okay, so there's only 3 matchups, I think. Mordekaiser, Maokai, and Sion.
Oh yeah, Sion, that fuck.
But actually, I have 2 hidden techs that I actually think are meta. Against Sion, I actually think running
Glacial Augment.
What?
Glacial Augment versus Sion, Alan's hidden tech. Tune in now.
No, it's Fleet Footwork.
All
I
right, I gotta
actually
go later, bro.
I
I'm gonna see
really
you.
liked it. No, I think Fleet Footwork is like a disaster in every other matchup, but I've played it against like high level science, and it actually felt pretty good.
Well,
Um,
I'll leave that to the expert. I'll leave that to you.
and the other hidden tech is against Ornn. What do you think I go? Ornn is the only matchup where I go that rune.
Oh God, what lethal tempo?
No, I mean there's not that many runes left.
All right, let me look at my client. Wait, time out. I'm gonna guess this right on the first one. So it's gonna be a hidden tech they don't use often. It is gonna
Yeah.
be. What, Omnistone?
Close.
Spellbook. Yeah, see, I'm a noob.
Yeah.
I can't use Spellbook. That shit hurts
I
my brain to
use
even think about.
Spellbook.
That makes
No,
sense. Yeah, that makes sense. I get that. But
but
it's
it wasn't
that's
even
too
my
big
hidden
brain.
tech. I will like give full credit. Like I got coached on Teemo by Vega V2. He was the former strategic coach for Fnatic, and we
I
played
follow his
Ornn.
Twitter. He's a good memer.
Yeah, I played the Ornn matchup, and I was like, or I saw him play the Ornn matchup, and he had Unsealed Spellbook with Ghost and Teal, and he was actually demolishing the Ornn, and I was like, holy shit, that is so good. I think it's weaker now with Face Rush, with Nimbus Cloak getting nerfed, but I think in that matchup specifically, it's actually kind of sick. I like Spellbook a lot.
I can see how I can definitely see how that works. I personally wouldn't do it because my brain's too small for that shit. But I get that. I can see how it works.
By the way, your stream is still offline, isn't it?
No, just refresh.
Ah, okay.
Okay, so pretty much press attack is super fucking greedy, and I can see how that works. What about your thoughts on phase rush? Like I said, I'm not gonna run phase rush, but I want to hear what you think about it and why you use it, what matchups you use it.
I definitely think it's very strong, but I think sometimes you give up too much pressure. Like that's my main problem whenever I see Ipo run it. I think
What are your
sometimes
secondaries for it?
phase rush,
Rav
domination.
Hunter, Taste of Blood.
Yeah.
Okay. What matchups are you using that into? Like 100%.
I mean, let's go op.gg. Like, for example, I can explain it.
Versus Renekton, that makes no sense to me. I'd love to hear how you feel.
To get against Renekton, because like I saw their champions and I felt like in team fights they're sort of like chasing-ish champions. Like TF, Gragas, Ashe, Pantheon, they also want to get onto you, and they all sort of want to. I don't know. They want to get you, and like Renekton and Gragas, they really want to gank you. So I really wanted a way to play passive, especially because I had a Rengar and the Caitlyn, and I was like, these guys, they're gonna 1v9. Like I'm against a fucking Renekton. If I do nothing, I just don't die thanks to having phase rush. I run away. I'm able to just, I don't know, secure chokeholds, like not do anything special. I'm just gonna get carried. And I think there's no like if I don't get carried and let's say the game is even, with phase rush you're still decently strong. I mean you can chase people down, you can kite better. But just you give up a lot in the lane. But if you don't have to win the lane, if it's not bad, like let's say for example against Aurelia, right? If you take phase rush into Aurelia, you give up like your strongest point where you can beat her pre-6 or like the first 9 levels, and you just concede everything and you let her free scale, and it's super sad. So I wouldn't go there. But Renekton, I mean, even if I win lane by not doing anything else, basically. If I go Grasp into Renekton, I'm doing fine. I'm gonna still win lane, but I'd be a lot more sad against the Ashe and Pantheon. Even though it would have been fine. in that game, I took it because I saw the Nautilus Sejuani and also the Morgana with her ult slow. I was like, just this is a bit too much. A bit too much pain for me, a bit too much CC, and I just want to be able to run away.
What about this
Here, that set, I think set is a matchup where you go. I mean, it's sort of simple matchups where you need movement speed is where I would go.
Yeah,
Matchups
because
where
he runs
where
at you, you auto, you run away. Easy clap.
yeah. Like I've played against sets and they're like, you have face rush, what am I supposed to do?
Makes sense. Now you took it versus
I
Camille
think
again. So versus okay. So what matchups do you take it just for lane? Like imagine they don't have a jungle. Imagine they don't have shit except a 1v1 lane. What matchups you take it?
But isn't that the wrong way to approach it? Like I always try to take my runes seeing how the champions play and how I'm supposed to interact with them. Like how is the game gonna progress over the laning phase? I feel like taking it only 1v1 laning phase is how you get IPOL going phase rush every game and then building Blade of Throne King Frozen Heart and being like, oh wait, I don't deal any damage and I'm useless. Like, you need to consider everything else.
I like that. Yeah, and that's definitely eye-opening. I see where you're coming from. That's pretty. Like I said, that's why you're at 700 OP, and that's why I'm not. You know, so I appreciate that insight. That's good shit.
Oh yeah, someone in chat is saying against Nasus, obviously you go phase rush. I mean, his W, it's a free counter.
Okay, so let me rephrase. So, off the bat, what matchups are phase rush just like free B I'll never die into? And then I would love to I get where you're coming from the team fights. I'm just trying to break it up into 2 segments.
Like, set Nasus definitely, and I agree with my like. I'm trying to decide like why would you go Airy or phase rush over Airy into Urgot. I like it into Urgot a lot, but I'm having difficulty explaining it because I would also recommend going Airy or Grasp into Urgot. It's kind of difficult. Oh yeah, 2 more matchups are Olaf. But against Olaf, I've actually noticed it feels a bit too defensive, maybe. Like, unless the Olaf has really good wave management, you can actually kill the Olaf before he kills you. Then Garen is another one. I think phase rush scales really well, so if you don't need to win lane exactly, then Garen, Darius would be matchups where it's good. Tryndamere is a matchup where it's good. I think Tryndamere is maybe another must-have. I can't win against the Challenger Tryndamere with anything else. I mean, I don't win the matchup anyways. I go like even, and then I get turbo destroyed once he has QSS. But it's manageable at the very least.
I feel like so what I have a problem with phase rush that it's probably me playing it wrong. So essentially, I feel like with phase rush you can never go offensive because if you waste your phase rush while poking them, you're fucked. Like, so is this only a defensive matchup, Rune?
Well, I mean, like, let's say the Darius, then you just do slower trades. Like, you purposefully never proc the phase rush and only, like, auto-attack them down. Or you do, like, auto-attack Q, and then you wait. Or maybe you're like, okay, the way this wave is right now, like I have the bigger wave, you can't hold in me, then you just proc it. Like it's not that bad.
It takes a lot of thought.
I mean, the only thought is like, am I in a position where I can waste phase rush? I mean, if you proc phase rush and I'm like trying to imagine like a scenario, like right, the second wave has crashed, you're slightly pushing into them. And then, as long as the third wave isn't coming already, you can just chase him down a bit. Like, you just don't want to proc it and chase him down when the next wave is already coming and kill you.
Okay, that's
Okay,
fair.
Exploder is saying, I don't know how you guys take face rush and matchups that Teemo wins. Hehehe. Teemo
Well,
claps Darius. I mean, I sort of agree that Teemo with Darius, you can go any other rune and still win, even in Challenger. Like,
I think they're
there,
just. I'm looking at it like I'm versing like the best Darius on the server, or like I'm
yeah,
versing the
but
best.
still, I
Go
could
ahead.
play the best Darius on the server, like I think 10 times and go another rune every time, and probably still do fine. I just think Face Rush is probably the best, but you can just kill them quite often. Like, Darius is another one like Olaf where Phase Rush makes a lot of sense, but I can see just going in offensive room and killing
Yeah.
them.
You can see both sides of the coin, whether you're playing offensive or defensive. Now that's a whole nother choice like you get to make. I think a lot of it depends on it. I
Depends
can
on
see both.
if you have to carry or if you just have to get carried, as often it
Yeah.
is. Or if you have jungle attention or not. Like,
I think that's about it for the runes. I think we have a lot here. Yeah, so pretty much yeah, okay, yeah. Thanks the runes it looks pretty good. I think my big thing was overusing PTA, like assuming like I'm going to shit on the lanes, but a lot of these lanes, I'm not going to shit on my main account. I've been fucking permasmurfing the last 3 months, so I pretty much got a rude awakening. Like permasmurfing, phase rush is God's fucking gift to Earth. Because you proc it on anybody and everybody.
okay.
You proc it on their damn ADCs, right? So that's been my fault. That's a big wake-up call for me, and this will help a lot. One matchup we didn't talk about was Fiora. Give me the rundown really quick. I can see arguments for both Electrocute and Grasp, so I would like to hear your thoughts on her.
No, I saw iPaul run Phase Rush into Fiora, and I actually kind of liked it. Like, I like the idea of like, right? I always try to suggest stuff based on how trades go and how the champs interact. I think I sort of took that from LS. Like, let's say, you have Fiora. She decides to all in you. She does Q E ult, so she tries to run you down, right? I saw iPaul like have a shroom behind him, then Q auto attack, proc phase rush, and then just run backwards. And I think that it's really powerful to subvert her ult all in. At the same time, if you just play the lane correctly, like the waves, I feel like you should always be able to just kill her with electrocute and airy. So
Yeah,
it's like
I feel like the optimal like playing the lane correctly card is hard because it's like I'm not playing fucking correctly right now. I'm pretty rusty. I don't think I wouldn't say I'm playing correctly, And like it's hard to go into a game saying you're going to play well or saying you're going to play perfect or whatever. Cuz like in theory if you're playing well, you should run electrocute every game, right? In theory. Like if
sure.
you're playing well, electrocute is the fucking best. But it's like I for damn sure I'm not playing well right now. And I want to give myself the most get it out of jail free cards I can, So I'm probably leaning more towards Grasp and Phase Rush for some matchups.
I see 3 scenarios where I play against a Fiora. The first one is I have Grasp, and she can never engage on me because I'm too tanky, and I poke her out. And I probably get the tower, and we're fine. She does probably outscale, and she will beat me in the side lane. The next one is I have Electrocute. Fiora tries to all in me, and with Ignite Q, I just one-shot her before she even gets on me. Also, Electrocute is kind of nice on Fiora because the Electrocute goes through her W and Scorch, like Shen W. And the third scenario is the lane is sort of passive, but with Phase Rush, I'm allowed to kite the Fiora through shrooms and kill her. So Phase Rush is the best. Like, with any other rune besides Phase Rush, you can't match her in the late game, but you probably shouldn't be playing for late game against a Fiora. So probably Grasp if you're scared. And Electrocute if you feel confident. But it is kind of difficult. I think in high elo I'd be kind of scared, and depending on the champs, I would just go Grasp or Phase Rush. By the way, you just opened the Jace game. I think Grasp was super strong against... Grasp was a super nice rune this game. And I should have stomped that game, but there was just a lot of unlucky stuff happening. But Grasp was really good. I think Jace can't win the lane if you go Grasp.
Yeah, I feel like Jace is becoming an easier lane throughout the years, and I agree. Jace, it's like Grass definitely is good because you can't really avoid the trades, but he doesn't do that much damage where it's intolerable, you know.
No.
Moving on to builds. So okay, so the runes I pretty much have a good grasp on it. Thank you, kind sir. Talking about builds now. So pretty much, essentially, we all know Leandri's Torment is fucking broken, right? We need to build that every damn game. Morel's is often good. Nashor's is often good. Void Staff is going to be broken when the time calls for it. Zanya's is broken sometimes. I barely ever use Banshees. Do you sit on the No Magic in AP matchups and then build Banshees, or do you sell it?
I often sit on it, and sometimes I go Banshees. I think Banshees is definitely like...
the weakest of the AP items, right?
It's not weakest, it's the most situational. So...
what would be a good situation? For, like, Karthus?
Sure. Karthus, 3 AP damage dealers. If they don't have an easy way to proc it, it can be just decent against any... Like, even if they have an Akali, it's still nice to go. Oh, someone... My chat is so smart, Jesus. They recommended Zoe. Yeah, if they have a Zoe on the team, it's actually really nice to have it.
Makes sense. So, like, Banshees is good versus 3 AP plus any of that CC that dinks you once and you're fucked.
Yeah.
Okay, but percentage-wise, what, like 5% of games, 10% of games? More like 5%?
Yeah, more like 5.
Okay.
So, if you go onto my stream right now, I have basically this pool of 8 items and I only choose between them. I don't think I run any item.
That looks about right. Your core early game, scroll up for me.
Yeah, that's just like components. I like to go from small items to big items. I often sit on components, to be honest. I like Bull Seekers and never upgrade it into Zanya.
That fair, I do the same thing.
I very often don't upgrade Oblivion Orb into Morello if I have it.
Until what, like third, fourth item?
Yeah.
So Nashor's Tooth is something I want to get your take on. So, the more I play on my main, the less Nashor's is like a must-build item. It seems more situational.
Agree.
Okay.
I think in a high elo, Nashor's is a very situational item.
Now, what situations do you feel like Nashor's is best? Like, So previous to me playing on my main, like I said, being a Smurfaholic, it's great every game. But I'm failing to identify when Nashor's is good. Like, so when do you think it's good?
So first of all, I'm loving the Inception. When is Nashor's good? Like, I think the best part about Nashor's is the CDR.
Hey, one sec.
Like, okay. He's going away for a second. Haha. My chat now. My chat now. Yeah, true. I should add Gunblade to the mix. But I build Gunblade so rarely, man. I think Lichbane is legit just bad. It's not bad. The thing is, like, Lichbane is fine, but it's so difficult to I don't know. I feel like whenever I buy it, I'm like, I'd rather have a Sonya here, I'd rather have a Nashor's here, I'd rather have a Void Staff, I'd rather have a Banshees. I understand that it deals damage, it gives movement speed, CDR, mana. Like, all of these stats are really useful, but I just... Maybe I should try it more, but I don't like the Lich Bane. Do I understand German? I am German, what are you talking about? Trying it against
Sorry,
Irelia
I'm
sounds...
back. I heard what you said about Lich Bane. I think Lich Bane sucks.
Yeah.
Okay, so... Okay, so walk me through when you buy Nashers.
Basically, if I don't need any other item. If I just say, I want a balanced item that deals good damage and scales well. I feel like that's overgeneralizing. If I'm like, okay, I'm not snowballing enough for death cap, I don't need either an MR or armor item. They don't have too much MR to build Void Staff. And I have, I don't know, Presence of Mind and Mana Flow Band, so I don't need Ludens. Like, if all the other items are not good right now, I go Nashers.
Okay, that's fair. That makes sense. Give me like the tier list. So naturally, I would say like my tier list would be like Torment, or like a priority list, right? On most games, Torment, Morellos, Zanyas, Torment, Morellos, Void, Zanyas.
Morello is pretty weak. I don't like Morello at all.
It's pretty weak. Okay, when do you build Morellos? I always think like if they have 2 or more big ass forms of healing, but that might be wrong.
I think if they have 3 healings or more. Or if they have like 2 real, like let's say they have Camille Yumi, sure, Morello's good. But I think buying Morello, yeah, what a guy in my chat is saying, I just always feel like I'd rather be building towards another item. Like, I'd rather have a Void Staff right now. And often it's better to just deal the damage than to reduce the healing. Like, someone in chat is even asking, like, Fiora, why don't you go or should you go Morello into Fiora? But I'm like, even there, I'd probably rather just kill her with Void Staff than try to deal with her healing.
That's fair. So damage over the hero reduction, that makes sense. And you already have Ignite, so you technically already have a Morellos.
Yeah. I like what the Exploiter is saying, like, earliest item should be 3rd or 4th. I tend to go more for 4th, to be honest.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it's okay to sit on Oblivion Orb for that long time, like, that's totally fine. I get that.
But I have watched a lot of LS, so I have, like, a natural dislike for Morello.
Fair. Okay, so give me your priority list. Give me your best item to worst item on an average game.
But like, I don't like it because I always adapt.
Well, too fucking bad. Give me it.
Okay, like, I don't know. Tier 1 is always Landry and Void Staff, and then tier 3 is like I guess if you want to, like, always good items, Landry, Void Staff. Then next best item, depending on situation, is Banshee, Zonya, Deathcap, and Ludens. And then situationally really good is Nashor's Morello. But that is like in very high elo. Like, everything under Master, I would legit just say go. I would do the priority list different. I would be like, just go Nashor.
Well, good, because I plan on only playing on my main, so I'll see you up there soon.
Natural Landry.
Okay. I mean, yeah, this makes sense. This is, besides the Morello, I mean, I would probably swap Morello and Banshees, but I'd trust your opinion over mine, so this makes sense.
Like,
I agree with you where, like, Lich Bane and Spellbinders are never going to be good, and I get that. It's totally agree with that.
So, guy in chat, Morello against Fiora is fine, but like don't build it instantly. The timing when she gets the ridiculous healing, like when she has Death Dance Hydra, it's gonna be like, right, she's gonna have 3 items. So you should start buying it like as your 3rd or 4th item if you can afford it. But let's say, like, right, we already have. The problem isn't that it's a bad item, but against a Fiora, I'd probably rather have a Nasher, Liandry, Zonya, and then I'd probably be thinking about the Void stuff. Then I'm like, can I really afford to go Morello here? So you just need to see whether the situation is good. Also, Morello is like 10 times better if the enemy is not building MR.
Yeah, for the magic pen.
Yeah.
Okay. I agree. I feel like I build it definitely too much, but I feel like I can see where you're coming from and it makes sense.
I just hate it when people buy a second item, and I'm just like,
Oh,
you're putting yourself so far behind.
I agree with that. Void Staff. So what breakpoint is good? When do you feel like Void Staff is best? Do you feel like just build it by default? Do you feel like they need 40 MR, 50 MR, 60? Do you feel like you count just MR items? Do you feel like what's your take on Void? Like when do you build it?
So I already feel happy about Void Staff if I already see a null magic mantle. So like Merc Threats, I will already be like, okay, that's
One
that's
pair of
an,
Merc Treads on one champ or on 3 champs, on 4 or 5, 2?
I mean, probably like on 2 or 3 if only the jungler, if only the jungler has like Merc Threats, obviously not. But usually, like, I don't know, the Ezreal has a Death Dance, and then the Camille, or I don't know, like Delusion when the Hex Drinker. If I see, yeah, like Hex Drinker, Mercs, Death Dance, if I see that, I'm already like considering WhatsApp is really nice.
Okay, yeah, that makes
Also,
sense.
some champions just don't build MR, so sometimes you're just like, okay, I don't need Void Stuff because no one here is gonna build. Like, if you check my latest game, where I was against the Kalista, I went Oblivion up there because I knew that none of their champions are gonna build MR. Like, Nocturne is not gonna build MR, Zoe's not gonna build MR. Kal- Kalista is probably she could build MR, and she probably should have built a Hex Drinker, but at that point we were stomping so hard that I was just like, okay, she's not gonna get to her Death Dance before we just annihilate her.
That makes sense.
But even in that game, I was like, maybe I would actually rather like White Stuff, because it's super weird, right? Because Kalista gets like super tanky with her triple lifesteal, Death Drinker, Maltese shenanigans. But at the same time, even though Morello would be so good, I'd rather have the MR penetration to deal with it, to just deal more damage than decrease her healing. I'd rather like one-shot her with Electrocute and Void Staff rather than try to contain her with Morello.
It makes sense you value the damage over the heal reduce, and that makes sense. You're playing Teemo. Like, you do a shit ton of damage, you're gonna be carrying most times. You're not playing fucking, Ezreal, right, with Executioner's Calling, so it makes sense.
Also, one more thing, like, there's this Brazilian team main, like Out Alan234 or something, and he goes, what's it called? He goes Void Staff second, and I was like, that's stupid, like, right, why would you do it? No one has MR yet. But at the same time, I'm wondering if there's more to it, because if you see that the enemy already has a Void Staff, you don't want to build MR, right? And if they don't build MR, you're gonna deal a lot of damage. So you're already like stopping them from buying MR. So
It's interesting, but I wouldn't say I'm gonna start doing that. But I can see where you're going.
I feel like it might be actually legit. I feel like it might really be good, because the Void Stuff is even gonna be effective at like 40 base MR without any items. It's still gonna do quite a lot, and if you stop them from building MR, I feel like it might be really good. But I've never I've only thought about that like 3 days ago, so I can't call it. I can't call it yet.
Yeah.
But third item, it's good. I love a third item.
All right, that makes sense. I wanted to ask you really quick on the matchups. Just give me quickly what matchups you max Q into, like 100% of the time.
Is there one?
Well, you said Wukong earlier.
Yeah. I don't know, like, giving you matchups is always more difficult than you giving me a matchup and I'm, like, saying what I would go into.
Sorry.
No, no need to be
I got
sorry.
you.
I think I used to hate QMax, but then I played against a Teemo who did QMax, and now I'm liking it more and more. Like, I think in the top 10, oh no, every single champ that you're looking at right now, I think QMax could be good. Besides Darius and Ornn, I think.
So Irelia?
Yeah, you can go QMax.
Well, okay, let me rephrase. What matchups is it fucking broken into that you have to do it or else you're trolling? Tryndamere? Tryndamere Wukong?
Yeah, Tryndamere Wukong. I saw it against Aatrox and I really liked it, but Emax is also strong. I'm trying it against
Riven?
Vladimir.
Question mark?
No, yeah, it's good. It's good. It's good. I don't know if it's better than E, but it's definitely good.
Vlad, because you're not really getting autos off, that would make sense.
I used to only max E against Vlad with decent success. Now I'm like trying Qmax. I'm still not sure. With Kayle, I'm also not sure. I feel Qmax could be really good, but I also like Emax against it.
What about Kennen?
Kennen, I think Qmax is good. Kennen gets into like the mage territory, into the Rise and Cassiopeia category.
And you said Urgot, right?
Yeah, Urgot is not a really good one.
What about Kled? I feel like it would be good versus Kled.
Yeah, it's good against Kled.
But
also, one giga broken pro tip. You should add that to your PTA. I think Phase Rush and PTA are really good into Kled. But Phase Rush is especially juicy because Cut Down actually works with his mount calculation.
Yeah, I heard about that. I haven't got to use it against him.
I tried it once, like a Kled one trick told me. And I was like, oh my god. I legit, I felt like I dealt 10 more damage per auto attack. It was really crazy.
Well, you can't use that in the Phase Rush one, right? You'd have to go Gunblade.
Yeah, if you... I mean, I think I ran Phase Rush Precision.
Oh god, I'm gonna throw up.
But it's... I mean, I hate playing without Gravenous Hunter as well. But I feel like it's manageable. Because you do gain a lot. But I know it's ugly. I feel bad saying it myself. But like, I think it might be optimal, even though it feels like shit. I think Ravenous Hunter has a lot of healing that isn't relevant. Like sometimes you heal, but you didn't really need the healing. But obviously, it can be. I mean, it is extremely strong.
What about Gnar for the Qmax?
Actually, if I saw a Gnar lock-in, I wouldn't be sure what to pick.
That's fair. Oh, what about ADC's top lane? Qmax, right?
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Into Lucian Vayne, yeah, Qmax is nice.
Because it's good for the poke and for the blind.
How can we go into Gnar? I think into Gnar I would go Grasp, probably.
That's safer than I would think. Second win?
Yeah, wait, I'm trying to decide because...
Hey, what about Nico? That's a lane that I've versed a couple times recently, and then she shits on me.
Oh yeah, Nico is an extremely difficult matchup, but I think Nico is a Phase Rush matchup or an Airy matchup. It depends on how confident you are. I think both are good, and yeah, you do Qmax. I think as long as you dodge some stuff, you beat them.
Okay.
Nico is the sort of champion that can be extremely bad and like completely shut you down. But if she missteps, which... I mean, I think we have to consider that, like, right, people are gonna do mistakes. So I feel like it's unfair to consider like, oh, if I'm playing against Wonder on Nico, then he's not gonna give me this opening. Yeah, but even Challenger Nico's like give me the opening, so I can still like get poke onto them. So I think if you go away from the perfect way the lane should go, then you can beat the Nico. I would probably go one null magic mantle, like double Doran's null magic mantle Qmax. Area
That's the biggest
phase.
thing I don't do that will help, is just sitting on that null magic in the early game.
Yeah, I really like it. In some matchups, like also Kali, I like it.
It's smart. It's 450 gold to survive lane. Like, it makes sense. I think I want to hold off the VOD review for another day if you don't mind. I've got ADHD. I'm starting to get antsy. I want a fucking game.
Okay.
But I would like to do
Sure.
a VOD review of either your gameplay, my gameplay, or both one day. I'm moving soon, so
Okay.
I'll probably be in a week or so from now. But that would be awesome to
Okay.
watch. I think your wave management is fucking 20 times better than mine. Something I need to work on. I think I die way too often. And I think that could be corrected by your guidance and watching over. Honestly, I would feel like watching over your gameplay would help me more. And be like, oh, why did he push, ask you, why do you push out wave there? Why do you freeze? Whatever.
There's a very easy solution to that problem.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing from it. I don't want to ruin the surprise. I did want to ask you one more question. How do you feel about Teemo support? I've been playing it more. It's fucking fun. I feel like it's not that bad. And also, did you see that Korean dude that's challenger with it?
Yeah, like the meta I think is pretty nice for Teemo support right now.
Versus like enchanters and supports, right?
Yeah, like I think there's some metas where Teemo support is legit unplayable, especially when like
fresh Nautilus Blitz.
Yeah, especially the hook champion. So I think Leona is actually fine because the Q blocks
right? Yeah.
But I've played it yesterday and I won. So, and it actually felt pretty good. Even like Ash Pantheon, right? Seems like a difficult matchup, but the Q actually deals quite a lot of damage.
It looks good. I've been playing it more. In this matchup, I see why you go comment because you can't auto the Panth. But honestly, no cap, Hail Blades feels pretty decent in some matchups because it just you can just get that off really easily. Like
sure.
Like sure versus something like maybe a brand, you're not gonna take it, right? But if you're versus like a Janna or like I don't know, Yumi, Soraka, all those champs, you can get the 3 autos and get the fuck out of there before they can even reply.
Sure, it feels a bit cheesy and might need like a perfect storm.
Well, no shit, you're playing team with support. Of course, it feels cheesy.
But even for Teemo support standards, like I feel like it needs a perfect team comp to work. But if it works well. Not Teemo support, but Teemo support with Hail of Blades.
Listen, bro, I play fucking 8 to 9 hours a day. You think I'm waiting around for perfect team comps when I'm playing, dude? I get, like, I think it's a mentality thing, because I feel like NA, and not to like bash NA EU or whatever, right? They both have their pros and cons for both regions. I think EU obviously is a little bit more competitive, but I feel like team comps aren't really a thing on NA. Like, it doesn't really work like that, like me saying, oh, I'll take this into a team comp, like that's never gonna fucking happen. You know what I mean? Just my thoughts. I could be wrong. I could just be. I mean, I played Teemo Jungle for 6 years, so I'm a degenerate when it comes to team comps. But that's just
even if like the draft, like people just pick whatever they want. At the end, you still have team comps, right? And so you can still adapt to what happened, even if what happened didn't make any sense whatsoever.
It's a nice way of looking at that. I like that.
But yeah, I'm not an authority on Teemo support, so if you're like AL Blades is broken, then I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. give me
Okay,
a call.
perfect. You know it's also broken? Donating Manco $100 every day.
I agree, man.
Yoink, thank you.
The second most broken is donating after donating to Manco to Alan, but people aren't that.
Respect. Okay, I am gonna get out of here. Thank you so much for all the advice. I have it all written down. I'm gonna seriously think about it. Playing on my
Can
main
you
account
send
and
it to me as
grinding.
well?
Yeah, I can. It's just like it's not like it's nothing crazy. It's just like my notes. You know, it's not formatted or shit.
Yeah,
I'll send you it.
I saw them. I saw them.
Okay. I feel like that's all I had to ask you. I feel like I got all the important stuff out of the way. Do you have any like last thoughts? Maybe last must-have tips for me?
Consider going Gunblade against Gangplank. It's the one time I would go Gunblade. To any other, I wouldn't go to any other matchup.
Okay. Hey, I appreciate that.
Um, I mean, I already told you my hidden tech. I'm wondering
Yeah.
if Glacial has a place in the world, like maybe
I feel like the
Trinity or something.
uptime on it is so low. I feel like it's down as long as it's up. You know.
Yeah.
It's good for
Oh, yeah.
YouTube though.
Someone is asking in chat, Gunblade might also be the most optimal item into Irelia, but I'm also still testing on that. But those are like the two matchups where Gangplank more, but Irelia might be a good one.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
But yeah, like
Alright.
if you, I think less like I don't know. You can call me on Discord and you can be like, "Hey, Alan, the fuck do I do in this match? Or what would you do in this matchup?" And I can just tell you.
Okay, thanks for letting me do that. I'll be annoying you every time I lose a lane.
Great, and then I'll.
5
They
a.m.
haven't
EU
done
time.
It's not a 1v1 lane! Stop pushing!
Perfect. Sounds good. Okay, thank you for your time, buddy. I'm streaming for a while today. I'm gonna be live for like 5 hours. I'm not sure if you're gonna be on, but if you are, I'll toss you a host.
I think I'm also planning the same. But I mean, I'll be at the end of my stream in like 4 hours, so it's fine.
Okay, I'll look
Thanks
for you another day then. I seek to repay you for doing this for me.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, buddy. You have a great day.
See you.